Up there real soon. All right, here we go. All right, so we are halfway through the course. That's a good thing. And we are in week 3. So week 3 is going to be a bit of a change up here. So what's going to be happening is we're going to talk about a little of what happened over the weekend here, and that is uh, going through the midterm time period there. All the grades have made it over to your campuses, and so they're aware of where everybody is grade-wise, progress-wise. They see exactly which assignments you completed, which ones you didn't, and so they're going through those. Anybody that is at a 65% or less in the class currently, they will be reaching out to you, find out what's going on, see how anybody can help boost that along, see if there's anything that we can do to help make that go. Questions and things that always come up. No, there is not something that's in place that you can drop your lowest class. That's always a rumor that goes around. No, but every class that you are assigned, you do have to complete for your degree, your certification, etc. There's not a drop your lowest type thing. If for any reason you do not make it through, you don't pass, yes, you do have to repeat. You have to make this the courses that go through. That's part of the certification and the degree and the programs that you're in. But you can do this. This is something that you can do. I want you to know that you are capable of doing these things. It's just sometimes people think that, oh, it's an online class. It's not a real class. I don't have to spend time doing it. But yes, online classes do require time. And people go, oh, it takes too much time. No, remember when you're in a campus class, you're actually supposed to be there 4 hours those days that you are there. Now, sometimes people go to lunch or they go to on break or whatever, and they just don't come back. But that doesn't mean that that's when the class ends. You're actually supposed to be there. There's a lot of time. And in a class like this, you're actually not spending that much time in there if you look at the amount of actual coursework you're doing. So you do require time, but not quite as much time. Um, it does require time management. This is a skill that you're learning in here, and it's going to help you out when you're doing projects, etc., in every field that we have here at Southern Tech. So that is a skill that is going to help you in everything. And we all have issues with time management. Don't think that it's just you or it is something that's just in school. Everybody can always benefit from learning how to manage their time better. That's why people make millions each year with planners and calendars and this and that. Find a way that works for you. There's no one solution for everybody. So that's something else. The other thing is don't put things off. Um, People like to procrastinate. I do on different things. And then when we run out of time, panic sets in. Okay. If that happens, figure a way to do it. But one thing we can't do is push blame on the system doesn't work. SimNet doesn't work. My computer doesn't work. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. This improper timing. Okay, not planning. Those things happen. One of the best things to do is just admit there's not enough time. Didn't plan ahead. That will eliminate so much and then allow you to just start from there. Okay, so if you didn't complete everything, that's okay. If it's in week 1, unfortunately, that boat has sailed. Okay, week 1 is done. Um, Standard policy, you have a week. There's the opportunity for extensions. After that week has passed, that's it. Okay. So no more week 1 assignments. Text emails went out. Okay, now we are in week 3. Okay, if you didn't complete something in week 2, meaning the chapters, the quiz, and the project, go into the self-evaluation for this week. And it's the evaluation. It says for week 2, but we do it in week 3 because you're evaluating the one prior. And at the bottom of that, there's a place where you can check off that you need those extensions. When I go through and I grade that, I see those and I put those extensions in for you. All right. And so that's a great way for me to know who needs the extensions and who doesn't. Extensions are not just across the board. I give everybody an extension all at one time. Part of this is so that you see exactly what you're doing. It's not a surprise. Your grade's not a surprise. You need to know exactly what's going on. You can plan for this. You know you need to make those up, etc. You get attendance also. That is considered an assignment. You need an attendance assignment for tonight by midnight anyway. So it helps you out that way as well. So get those in because after Sunday, week 2 will not be available in that final week. Next week is our final week. All right. Everybody excited about that? Yes, I hope. Next week is our final week and it ends on a Thursday. Okay. Thursday. So you won't have another weekend after this one. Okay, that's very important. It ends on a Thursday at 10 o'clock. So you won't even have all the way till midnight on that Thursday. Okay, so that's real important because at 10 o'clock, what's going to happen is the entire class will lock. I can't give extensions past that because you won't even be able to get back into the class. So this week, week 3, this is the time you need to catch up on everything. The other reason why
Is week
week
4
3,
going to be able to start early?
I'm getting ready to let you know about that right now. So this week on Friday, week 4 assignments, I have the ability to open those early. If you are caught up, you'll be able to start those week 4 assignments starting Friday morning, right after midnight. Okay?
Perfect.
So
Okay.
that gives you that ability to do those early. All right? So those of you who work ahead or stay caught up, that's your opportunity to really pay off there. Because if you get in there, yeah, you could manage to finish everything Friday if you wanted to. All right. And if you do, have me go in there and check it out. Send me a message. Say, hey, I think I finished everything. Check this out. All right. Everybody got that? So this is a big thing this week. And that being said, this week we're moving on from Word and we're going into Excel. Has anybody had any experience with Excel? Yes, no? Sometimes people have fears of Excel. They think formulas. Like everything, I give you everything you need to work on these assignments. So you'll have everything here. The other thing is, I don't ask you to memorize formulas. I've seen our reviews, excuse me there. I've seen reviews on the class before saying the worst part was the memorization of all the formulas. I thought, wow, I don't know what class you sat in, but I don't require that. Number one, I'm not a big memorization person. I tell people I've got the memory of a goldfish, about 3 seconds long, is the way the old joke goes. So no, you're not going to have to memorize any formulas, but I am going to show you how to use them, and the project requires it. Okay, big thing. The project requires the use of these formulas, and I'm going to show you how to do it step by step. It's not these massive things, and everybody is capable of doing it. Okay, don't fear things that you haven't done. You can do these things. Okay, just go through and know you can do these things. We always have these fears and, oh, I can't do these. We can. I know we can. We can. Okay, so keep that positive mindset. The more positive we stay, the more abilities we give ourselves. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about these things. And if you're looking at your scores and your grades, and you think, "Oh my gosh, this is kind of bad looking," remember those grades go up quickly. When you only have a couple of grades in there, and at the halfway point, you don't have a lot. So if you missed a couple of assignments, they're hitting those grades hard. One big thing that's hitting a lot of people bad are those discussions. You need 3 posts in those discussions to get 100%. Now, in one of those, I have people posting the same thing multiple times. Okay, here's a hint. When I go to look at your postings and I go into the gradebook and I check your name, it pulls up all the posts you did next to your name. So if you post the same thing multiple times, I see you posted the same thing multiple times. I see exactly what you post. So please don't do that. Okay? If you're using AI, I might let it slide once, maybe twice, but then you go in the next time, you might get a 0. I'll say, please use your own information. Okay? Anyone can cut and paste into ChatGPT and send it back. But if this is not the way you speak, if this is the way you talk, if this is the way you think, is this the way you want things to be? People have a fear of being replaced by machines, yet here you are replacing yourself with a machine. So let's think about that logic. Your words are good enough. Have faith in yourself and your own abilities. I know you can do that. Believe in your responses. Okay? Learn to trust in what you can do because you're going to have to do that on the job. You're going to be that welder. You're going to be that electrician. You're going to be that HVAC technician. You're going to be that medical assistant. You're going to have to trust your skills. Let's start doing that. Okay? I know you can do this. All right? So let's do that. Okay, everybody ready to go? Let's get this done so we can get to moving and a grooving here. All right? So here we go. We're going to start with the screen share here. Okay, so we're going to go right into the modules here. And here we are. I'm going to look like this is a student here. Okay, now, when you're in the resources, if you want to go back, and those of you that are making up assignments from week 2, right here under past live recordings, go all the way to the top under the modules. There's this resources. If it's closed up, just click on that arrow. Past live team recordings, click right there. There's the recordings from week 2. There's the recording from week 1. Click on those. It'll take you right to that YouTube video. So know where those things are, so in case you should have to go to them. Okay. If you have questions on how to do something with your Chromebook or your Mac specifically in Submit, don't forget that those are there as well. Okay. So those are always there. I have had people set up an appointment with me and do one-on-one, and those are right there. You click on that. Okay, so we're down here in week 3. So we're going to go all the way down here. And right here, this is where you do that self-evaluation. And in the bottom of that, when you launch this, you're going to click begin. And right down here, I'm going to skip on through these because it's going to ask you what your score is. And this isn't just for people who didn't complete things, it's for everybody. So you're aware of what's going on. But down here, you would say that, no, you did not complete everything. And do you need an extension on this? You would say, true, I do need an extension. Same thing on this one. Do you need it on chapter 2? Yes or no. Chapter 3, yes or no. And the quiz is yes or no. Or the project, yes or no. And then submit that. That's how you request those extensions. Okay. And that way you're sure to get them. Okay. When I go through and I grade that, that's how I find out that that's what you need. That is the best way to do it. And also, you have documentation. It shows that you did indeed request it. It's not, well, I requested it and Mr. Haley didn't do it, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So that's real important there. This week, excel in your career for the discussion. Again, 3 posts. It's down here. It's written in the requirements. Post 3 times. Your first post is up to 20 points. Okay, that reason why it says up to 20 points. If you're only putting in 2 words in there, no, you're not going to get the full 20 points. Just like your first response to another student, that one's 20 points. And then the second response out there after that is the final 60 points. When you add that 20, 20, and 60, that gives you the full 100. So if you're only putting in 1 post, you're throwing away 80 points. If you're only putting in 2 posts, you're throwing away 60 points. Please put in more than, yes, I agree with you, or something like that. Add to the conversation, or you're not going to get the full points, okay? The idea is to engage in these conversations, okay? There is not an exact word count because I expect you to be able to put down what you would really say in a conversation, not how quickly I can get through something, okay? We've all been in businesses where a business does a thorough job, you're very happy with everything that's done, and then you've been in the business where somebody does the least amount they can do to technically do the job. We've all seen that. If you're doing the least amount that you could possibly do, is that the quality of work you want to be representing you? Okay. Think about that. That is the work ethic that you're putting out. Strive to be the best at all times in every aspect of what you do. Okay. Not just the minimum. Okay. Because think about that when you go to seek wages, when you go to seek income. If you want the top dollar, you do the top work. That's how you make that. All right. In all aspects. So this week, Excel's used everywhere, organizing, calculations, creating reports. So think about how this could be used in all kinds of fields. But you don't have to answer for every field, okay? You can use it and answer in just one field. It can be just your field, okay? So how would these things be useful in your field? And why do you think it would be? And so I give you some examples to help start you out because sometimes it's hard to think things through. So here's some examples here. And I've brought some other examples. So I have an Excel sheet here, actually a few of them, to kind of explain this a little bit because I always hear, well, I'm going to be in the welding booth. I'm never going to use this. And as hard as you try to explain, you spend just a small portion inside that welding booth, okay? But how many people out there who are doing welding know you have to do weld testing? You have to test those welds. You have to check for strength. How many people know that? If you're in the welding program, yeah, you have to test that. So what you see here is right here in the green sections. That's the formula for testing all the different welds. that you have to calculate. Okay? So depending on the length of the weld in a single butt weld, you have to take O, which is the tensile strength of the metal, which is how long you can pull on it before it snaps, the thickness of the plate, and the length of the weld, and you multiply all that together, and that's going to give you the strength. Okay? Now, if I tell you the length of the weld is 55, boom, and everything else stayed the same. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, could you make that 45? Boom, I got it calculated. You know, it was actually 35. Oh, no, make that 37. Now, if you are manually calculating, you'd have to keep redoing that and redoing that. Now, this is a minor one, okay? Now, as you go down, you can see this formula gets a little bit more complicated. Now, if you're doing a double transverse fillet weld, you can see you're going to have to take 1.414 times h, which is the height, times the length, times the tensile strength, times um, uh, times all of this in this formula to come up with the strength. Okay? So now, if I tell you that the length is 32, you're going to have to redo this entire thing. This is the beauty of Excel. You can change the height to 15, and it's going to recalculate that quickly. Okay? This is why we use Excel. This is why welders use Excel. This is one simple example. Okay? Now, electrical. Okay? You're going through a nice installation. Okay, now you know that total load when you're connecting everything up versus the max demand load, that's different. Total load is when everything flips on all at one time. You have a surge and pull, and your max demand load, that's when everything's running. It's not quite as high. So as you're going around and you're figuring out how many of everybody wants this, wants that, et cetera, you're going through, you put in the wattage of every item that's on here, and you're changing the quantities of these things all the way through. And what it's going to be doing is it's going to be adding all your total loads up here. So you'll be able to figure out what the total is on everything. So you'll be able to plan those panels out. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to have to be doing this with pen and paper. You're going to have to be calculating this. And as you're doing a walkthrough with a client, you're going to be doing this on a tablet, etc. And they're going to be going, you know what? Instead of 75 of these lights, maybe we'll go with 50. And then they're going to get down here instead of saying 6 of these, let's go back up here. Let's change that to 65. Now, if you're trying to keep track of this, and when they're finished, they're going to say, what's the total? They're not going to wait for you to go back somewhere. They want it now, or they're not buying. You have to be real time. HVAC. Now Excel looks entirely different. Now look here, you make this entire area, it looks like a bill. It's that versatile. You put in all your individual items, you tell it how much you want, you give it a price, it totals everything down, adds the tax in, boom. So many people experience and work with Excel and don't realize that that's actually what they're utilizing. Medical personnel, you're using Epic, etc., but you're not using Excel, but yet you are. You're just looking at it with something over the top, okay? and you're putting in the person's allergies, et cetera, et cetera. And as you're filling out all the information and things are changing color, letting you know that this is an alert, the person's too light for this, or they have a conflict, or this or that. All of this is managed inside Excel through things like conditional formatting, where you can use color scales to change to alert things when things get to scores or things that are too high or too low. Excel touches every career. It's so versatile. Now, there are other programs very similar. Google has Sheets. There's all types of other versions of it, all the way down to now they have ones to start kids out at first grade level to teach on different variations of it. So these programs are very versatile, and we're going to learn how to kind of wrap our heads around very easier to work with examples of it. So you feel kind of comfortable working around them. Something like this sheet here is at a very complicated level, has a lot of calculations going on in the background and pulling from medical databases as well. Something like this, yeah, I wouldn't want to try to make this myself at all. It's definitely something I would purchase as opposed to try to recreate. You would use a team of people to come up with this to make sure you had all your checks and balances in. All right. But I want you to be aware of all the places that people use these for all of these and help use that to come up with where you think you could use this in your career. What might you use it for? Okay. 3 posts, get that 100 points. Okay. Think about how you can utilize it. We even utilize it ourselves at home. We like fast cars. We have to maintain them, you know. We use it to track all our oil changes, our spark plug rotations, which ones get maintained, which ones have to be driven, which ones are coming in, which ones are being sold, etc. There are numerous ways to track and utilize these things. All right. So that's your discussion for this week there. Now, the other thing that we will notice right off, you only have 2 chapters in Excel. Big difference from Word. You only have 2. And part of that is Excel is a completely different concept than Word. Most people have interacted with something similar to Word. Excel's a little bit different. And then you have the chapter. They work the same way as you've seen in Word and the previous introduction chapter. And then we have the project. And that's where I'm going to spend the time tonight, is going over the project and explaining how to use Excel. Is everybody good so far? Any questions? We're good? Yes? Looking for those emojis?
Uh,
Yep.
I do have a quick question, Mr. Haley.
Yes. Yes.
Because I just got in, I was doing something. I've been trying to do the project since this morning, and I've been having a little bit of trouble trying to like make the table. I don't know if you could
I'm
go over
gonna
it.
I'm gonna do the entire walkthrough for the project from
Okay,
start to finish.
I didn't know if you had already done that or not because I just got in, so I
Yep.
wasn't sure if you had already done it.
Nope, nope, nope. Getting ready to do that right now. All right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so gonna open up the project right here. Uh, don't click start assignment till you're ready to submit it. And a couple of things here. Do not use an already made template or a form created by another student. Okay, do your own work. Okay, yes, some people are going to try to slip one through, and maybe they do. It all catches up to you. Okay, if you want to try to get through life on somebody else and that makes you feel good, then that's a whole different ball game there. Okay. But what we're going to do is we are going to be working inside a spreadsheet, and that's what Excel's called. It's a spreadsheet. And we are going to be doing some formulas inside there. And one thing I want to point out is this very big note. Formulas are required for all calculations and must be present when submitted for grading. If you submit it without the formulas, it's going to be rejected. If you calculate everything up by manual using a calculator, etc., and just typing in the numbers, you're doing a typing test, okay? I know you can type numbers in the sheet. That's not what we're doing. We're actually going to be using Excel to calculate the numbers, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be finding which one of the spreadsheets you're going to use. So you find the one that corresponds to your career. And it doesn't matter, they all are basically the same. The difference is the information on it is a little bit different based on the items that are on the sheet. Everything else is pretty much the same. And what you're going to do is you're going to click this arrow next to it, this little down arrow. And when you do, it is going to download it to your system. And so I'm downloading it here and I'm going to save it. And so it has downloaded it and saved it onto my system. And then I'm going to go to the student portal, go to Microsoft 365, and I am going to go to apps. Mine happens to be all the way down there, and choose Excel. Okay, now where it says create a blank workbook, there is one that says upload a file. That's what I'm going to choose. And I'm going to find that same item that I downloaded. That happened to be on my desktop and it is under demo and it's in this folder called today. And there is my item and I'm going to say open. And it's uploading it right now. And your spreadsheet should look very much like this. And Laura, you've got a question. I see a hand up. If you're talking, Laura, your mic's muted. I just see a hand up.
Guys, I'm sorry. For some reason, my 365 does not, when I go to the student portal, it does not allow me to get into the 365 where there's Excel or Word or anything. I noticed that last week and I thought it was just a glitch in the system. But as you were speaking, I just jumped over there and checked, and it's still not allowing me to open up to, like, if I was going to go into Excel. So that's just something that I will reach out to you after the class. I don't want to take the class time up.
Do you have an option that says all apps?
No, I didn't. I'll do that. I'll reach out with you tomorrow. I don't want to take everybody's time up. So I
Okay,
just wanted to address to you that I do have an issue that I'll look at with you later.
okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
not an issue there. Okay, so when you're looking at Excel, I'm going to go to a blank sheet here real quick so I can do some general demo here. So each square in Excel, if I click around here, you'll see the little box land. Each one of these is called a cell, C-E-L-L, that I typed in there. And that's where you actually put your information. And you can just click and type in there. And it doesn't matter if you type in numbers or if you type in letters, etc. It will take either. Now, if I type in a bunch of information, and I hit the key, you'll notice that it kind of clobbered the lines here, and that if I want something to fit in one of these cells and it doesn't, if I go up here between that K and the L, you'll notice that my cross turns to two arrows. Or you'll notice on some machines, your cross will change colors. When you get that between them, if you double left click, it will automatically size that for you. The other way you can do it is when you get that little symbol there, you can hold down your left mouse button and you can manually slide it back and forth. That's how you can make things fit. And so now if I was actually typing a bunch of words, this is a test of size, and I put that in there. Let me get rid of this in the corner here. The other way I could do it is I could click up here on the H, do a right click, and you'll notice there's an item that says Format Cells. And under there, there's a thing that says Alignment, and there's an item that says Wrap. Now, when I did that, you'll notice that I broke it up so that it stayed inside that space, but it wrapped it. That's another way that you can change the way things fit inside one of these cells. So that's how you can do put data in. Now, as I'm moving around, I can click anywhere, or I can use my arrow keys to move around, or you can use your return key or enter key to move down. So there's a lot of different ways to move around. Now, as I'm moving, you'll notice that it lights up above on those letters and the numbers on the left-hand side. Each cell is referenced by those, and it's referenced by the letters first because it's referenced by column. Columns run up and down, and then by row. Rows run left and right. Okay, and how I remember it is I remember crow, like in the birds, and that's column and then row. Okay, and I do that because I have to have ways to remembering things. Sometimes I have issues with that, and so that's the way I remember it. Columns, as in the tall columns on the front of big buildings, and rows like rows of corn and things in the field, and crow like the bird. So when it's here, it is K12. When it's here, it is D7. And if you're ever trying to figure out exactly what it is, if you look up in the corner, you'll see H16. H16. This little box here is called the name box, and that tells you exactly what that cell is named. Okay, everybody good so far? Yeah, because it's going to get a little weird here. Okay, so now I can delete things by clicking on it and pressing the delete key. I can hold down my left mouse key and highlight whole sections and press the delete key, or I could click in this corner over here and that selected the entire thing, and I could press that and clear everything out as well. I'm going to close this little side thing over there. And if I want to get this back to normal here, I could come up between the K and the L and I could click on that as well. Now, so we've seen how to put that in. I'm going to show you something else. I can put in a 1 here, press the return, come back to it, and in this very corner there is a green square. Now, if I come onto that green square and hold down my left mouse key and pull across, it will populate ones all the way across. Now, if I put a 1 here and a 2 here, hold down my mouse key, highlight both of those, and then click on that little square and pull across. Now what's going to happen is it's going to go up by 1 every time I pull it across. Okay. Now, if I put a 1 here and a 5 here, hold down my mouse key, left mouse, highlight both of those, then go to that corner, hold down the left mouse and pull it across. It's going to go up by 4 every time. Excel recognizes sequences. This also works going down. There's a 6, there's a 21. I can pull that down, grab that corner, whoops, grab that corner there, pull it straight down, and it'll continue the sequence. It can do it going backwards as well. If I highlight the 5 and the 1, grab that corner, pull it up, it'll go backwards as well. It allows for very quick data entry. You can do the same thing for days. I can start off with Monday. Just grab this corner, pull it across, it'll fill in the days of the week. And it doesn't matter which way I do these days. Having mouse problems here. It'll do them either way. This works with months as well because it converts the data to numbers and numbers back to words. Okay, so you start to see how quickly Excel can fill, populate, and work with numbers, words, etc. Okay, so I'm going to click in the corner, highlight everything, press my delete key, and wipe everything out. So that's a bunch of nice little parlor tricks, but why is it so useful for math? So if I want to add 1 plus 2, that's going to be equal to 3. And so I want that number to show up here. So how do I tell Excel to add those together? Well, when we say 1 plus 2, we say equals boom. So we have to tell that to Excel. So 1 plus 2 equals. Every time you want to do math, you have to say equal. Okay? Always equal. Well, what does it equal? Well, we're going to come click here. It's equal to that. Well, what about that? Plus, and then we click the other one, that. And then we hit return. Well, that seems like a lot of work to get that answer. But what if that 1 were a 5? If I change that 1 to a 5 and hit enter, my number just changed to a 7. Okay? The reason for it, if I click here, I'm going to go all the way up here to what we call is the formula bar. And if you look, what that says is it says this number is equal to F5, which is this box, plus G5, which is this box. It does not care what you put in there. It's always going to add it. So if I come down here and I change this 2 to a 4 and hit enter, it's going to change that to a 9. Does everybody understand? In Excel's world, these are just storage locations. And anything I put in these two spots now, it's going to add them and it's going to put it over here. Has everybody got that? Got one thumbs up. Okay. That is the basic principle of how these formulas work. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you have that like that right there where it's F5 and G4 or G whatever, if you were to erase those numbers out, but you still had the F and the G plus, would it still say you erase those numbers completely, but you had the G and F formula up there, would it automatically stay there, hold in place? So when you
Yes.
come through and add another number, it would, if it was empty and you add another number, it would automatically add?
Yes. See, right now it still has that
Okay.
and the score's 0. So if I
Uh-huh.
came down to F5 now and I put, say, a 9 in here, right now it has a 9, even though it's not doing an addition. And
Okay.
then if I put a 5 in, then it
Then
puts
it
it
would.
in.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
I'm sorry.
no, always ask questions. So now you can see that it's taking care of whatever goes in here. And it doesn't matter if I came over here and I said, you know what? That shouldn't be addition. I can actually come up here and click on that plus sign, and I could back that up and I could change that to a minus and hit the return key, and it just recalculates it. And then the same thing happens. I can change this 5 down here. Whoops. I blew away my item there. Hold on a second. Let me put my formula back. I think I deleted it. Here we go. Okay, let's see if I put my 5 in there. Okay, so I've got the formula is still the minus. Now, if I come in here and change this to a 3, it's still going to work as long as I don't get rid of the formula, as long as that's there. So I could come back up here and I could change that to back to a plus again. And then hit the return after that G5 and it will recalculate it. So what would happen if I put in a bunch of numbers here? Well, that's going to get old having to add all of these up like that. So there's a better way to do this. So what we do is where this 12 is, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click on formulas. And there's this funny looking M that when I hover on it, it says auto sum. And I'm going to click on it and it immediately highlighted everything here. And it's asking me, do you want to do F5, which is from here, all the way to K5? And I'm like, yeah, I want to add all of those together. And if I do, I just hit return. And it will add all of those together. Now, if I didn't, I could have just grabbed it with the mouse and I could have shortened it or moved it or whatever. But if I click on that 58, you can see what it did. It says sum, which means add, and it's got the beginning part all the way to the end part. But if I took and changed that 5 to a 4, it would stop adding right here. It would still put the number there, but it wouldn't add that 9 in. Does that make sense to everybody? So it's adding all of these numbers together, and that's where the 58 comes from. Is everybody good with that? And you can change any of these numbers. So you can go through here and you can change a 10, you can make this 20, you can come back here, make this 15, you can make this 6, you can make this 12, and you can see that number over there just changing. Make this one 12, I make this one 8, I make this one 9. This is how inventory works. As people are changing these numbers, that's how that rolling number of totals changes right there. Okay? These are the basic principles on how your project is going to work. Okay? So let's go back to our page here. So right now, we have a quantity and a unit price, and we have a total cost. Okay? So a total is going to be quantity times the unit price. Okay? So to do math, we always tell it equal. And what are we going to make it equal to? We're going to click on quantity. Now to do multiplication, it's the asterisk, that little flowery star-like sign. And then you click on unit price. Hit your enter or return key, whatever your keyboard says. There's your price. But you could come back here and you could change that quantity. If I put 3 in, boom, it would change that. Okay. Now, maybe I want to give them a discount price. It's up to you. Maybe I want to give them a $5 discount. Okay. You can give them a discount, but there's a fee and you can change the fee amount if you like. Your final cost. Okay. We're going to do an equal. Your final cost is going to be total cost minus any discount they get plus any fee. And then you hit your enter or your return. So now if I make that fee, maybe they got a $12 fee. Maybe there's an expensive fee. Their price will go up. Does everybody see how that is calculated? Everybody's got that? Okay. And you could do the same thing for this one. This one here is equal to this times this, enter. Maybe they only get a $2 discount. And your final cost will be equal here to this minus this plus this. Okay, everybody got that? Ready for some more magic? Okay. Now, Excel is good to us. You have this formula down. See that little green square in the corner there? Get to that little green square, hold down your left mouse button. Nope. Hold down your left mouse button on that cross there and pull it down. And look at that. Did you see what it just did? It copied that formula. Okay. I have to redo this one here because this one, when I was playing around there, it messed up. So I'm going to make sure this is $2 here for that discount. Your discounts, you can put in whatever you want. I'm just going to randomly put in some discounts. The discounts are made up, so you can put in whatever discounts you want. Okay. Now, when you get over here to the final cost, grab that little corner there where it turns into the cross, pull it straight down, and it will copy that formula for you. Okay, has everybody got that? All right, now comes one more trick. We're going to click under the quantity. We're going to go to our formula, click on that little funny looking sideways M, click there. It's going to ask us if we want to add all that together. We're going to hit our return or enter key. It's going to add that. Our total cost, we're going to click there, do the same thing. We're going to say yes. Go to the discount. We're going to do the same thing. Hit the enter key. Miscellaneous fees, we don't need to total. The final cost, we're going to do the same thing. Boom. All right. Does everybody see how that was done? We are good. All right. So now to submit it, the easiest way to do this is go up here to File, create a copy. I know it sounds so weird. Download a copy. And then I'm going to say complete on mine here just so that I know which one it is that I did. Your instructions show you how to name yours so that you have it named properly. And I'm going to do save. I'm going to go back to my assignment here. Let me move this out of the way. It's blocking part of my screen. And then you'll go up to where it says start assignment. And you can either choose or drag the file there. There's my file. I'm going to say open. It's going to show up there. I'm going to say submit the assignment. And there's the confetti. And that's how you submit the assignment as well. It's real weird how you have to do that submit assignment like that, because if you just try to share it, it won't allow you to do that because of the, it's specifically looking for an Excel file type, and sharing does not share that file type with it. So that's why you have to do the download and then the upload. All right. Any questions on anything we went over or anything with week 2 or anything about the class in general?
Um, the chapter 1 and chapter 2 that for this week, that's pretty much the same thing as last week, correct?
Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
you have the 3 boxes. And remember, if you don't like the video or the step-by-step, those are optional. Whichever ones work for you, feel free to do those. But if you only want to do the let me try, you can go straight to that. Customize that learning experience with whatever works for you. And always remember, you can go in and out of those as much as you want, and there's no penalty for doing them over and over if you're not getting something. And if you're just not getting one, let me know and go to the next item in the chapter. They don't get harder as you get further in the chapter. Each one's its own, but if you're just not getting something, send it to me. Sometimes it's just as simple as you're very close to clicking the right thing, or it's one letter off or something like that. Okay. I've been trying to get the publisher to say anything that you need to type, make it a different color instead of just making it bold, because sometimes it's hard to tell what to type. So, uh,
Okay.
definitely do that. If you try a few times and you're just not getting it, don't get frustrated. Go to the next item, send it over to me. Make it a reasonable number of times. But if you're like on try number 15, uh, I would have already probably thrown my machine out the window by then. Don't do that to yourself. Give yourself a break. If you do a chapter and you're not at 100%, look back on that list. That means you missed doing something. And if it's something that you're just not sure of, say, hey, Mr. Haley, I'm on chapter such and such, skill number, whatever. I'm not getting this. Can you help me? That's what I'm here for. Don't be, embarrassed or afraid to say something. That's what I'm here for. Send it over. Regardless of the time, if it's really, really late, I'll get it in the morning if I'm not still up. Okay? Any others? And Laura, if you hang on after the class, you might be able to show me what's on your screen and you can show me what you're seeing. So if you want to hang on after the class here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Anybody else have anything? Nope, that's it then.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
I think I'm probably having the same or a similar problem as Laura. Because whenever I click on the apps, it only shows me Outlook. It doesn't show me any other apps. It just
Okay.
shows me Outlook.
Okay. So what I want either one of you to do, if you feel comfortable sharing your screen, everybody else, please feel free to go. Uh, we're finished with the class itself. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. So let me go ahead and stop that.